Casey's Audio Vault.
Rob Halford from Judas Priest.
July 27th, 2009.
Hello, Casey. How are you?
I'm good. How about you today?
I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah, getting ready to do our first Texas show this evening here in Houston.
You're resting yourself up in the hotel room.
Well, a little bit, yeah, talking to friends like yourself and doing some other bits of press, communicating all the great things that are going on this current British Steel tour with the Mighty Priest.
So you guys are doing the full British Steel album?
Yes, we are indeed, something that we've never done before, Casey. This is kind of exciting for us in the band, but more so for the fans especially. British Steel is a hardcore classic Priest album that next year turns 30 years old, so we're kind of getting the party started early a little bit.
Now, were there a few songs on British Steel that you haven't played in a little while that you kind of needed to polish up on?
Yeah, actually, the big fan favourites, Breaking the Law and Living After Midnight, have been kind of staple in the Priest set list for many, many years. But the other tracks like The Stealer and Rapid Fire, The Rage, we really haven't played those out for as long as we could remember. So, yeah, we basically had about 4 or 5 days to rehearse all of British Steel before the tour started. And there we were off and running, but the reaction has been absolutely incredible. The fans are absolutely going crazy for it. It's a really, really good moment for everybody.
And Judas Priest, you guys released a new live album recently, A Touch of Evil. What made you guys want to do another live disc?
Well, we've been making heavy metal for over 35 years now, Casey. We love it to death, and that's where our lives have taken us. And during that time, as you know, we've made many studio albums, but we haven't really made that many live recordings because we've always felt that the live recordings have to be, of some value and importance to kind of have some relevance to where you are in your life in a metal band. So I think this is our 4th ever live release, Touch of Evil Live, which, as you say, is out now, and it contains material that, again, we've never played, or recorded live, rather. We've played these songs out live, obviously. We had to because we recorded them. But, yeah, they're all brand new, fresh tracks in terms of, never being played before in the live sense. So it's a really fierce, heavy record. That's the most potent side of it, Casey. These tracks are very, very... very strong metal songs. So that came out a couple of weeks ago, and the fans are eating that up, and it's a little bit of everything going on with the Priest right now, with the live recording, the British Steel moment, and of course, Priest being back out on the road again.
Like you said, you've been doing this a long time. Your voice is still pretty amazing. Is there anything that you do, any kind of ritual just to keep the pipes as fresh as always?
Just have a cup of tea. No, in fact, that's what I do, actually. Your vocal cords are part of your whole body system, so you have to rest them up as best you possibly can when you're not actually screaming them out on stage. And, it's a wing and a prayer, really, for a lot of rock and metal singers, because your vocal cords seem to take on a life of their own the longer that you're doing what you do. Having said that, touch wood and everything, I can still do the business, occasionally you have to adjust and modify some things, but for the most part, I'm still belting them out and having a great time with my voice. There's no lotions or potions or incantations or anything like that. I just get dressed and walk out on stage.
Are you familiar with the website Wikipedia?
Yes, I am very familiar.
Okay, well, every once in a while on the Rock Report, whenever I do an interview, we play a game called Wikipedia True or False, because quite often those entries are not necessarily accurate.
Oh, that's absolutely true, yes.
Now, according to Wikipedia, you were once a movie theater manager. Is that true or false?
No, I've never been a movie theater manager. No, it's false.
False. It said that, I guess, in your younger days, when one of your first bands, you were a cinema manager, which I took to mean movie theater.
No, well, there you go. As you point out, Casey, a lot of the things on Wikipedia are kind of left field, so to speak. So that one's definitely a buzzer for a false one.
Oh, what kind of jobs did you have when you were growing up in England?
Well, I kind of, like most people, you try to grab what you get. I left school when I was about 15 or 16 and For a while, actually worked at a very famous theatre in the UK. It wasn't a movie theatre; it was an actual repertory theatre. It was called the Grand Theatre in Wolverhampton, and this was the place where I saw the most amazing things. You know, from full-on classical opera to variety shows to repertory shows, classical pianists, stand-up comedians. I was a lighting engineer at that place, so that's where whoever put that entrant thing into Wikipedia probably got their tails crossed. So I did actually work in a theatre, but I was a stage lighting technician for a number of years at that place in Wolverhampton.
A small kernel of truth in that one.
A little bit, yes. Yes.
Now, also it says that you filled in as the singer for Black Sabbath on a few occasions. That's true, right?
Yeah, a couple of times. Yeah, when we did some shows with Sabbath, of course, we're good friends with those boys. We've known them forever. The first time was when Sabbath were actually going to reunite. I think that at the time, Ronnie Dio was singing for the band, and there was a little bit of friction in those days between the Ronnie Dio camp and the Ozzy Osbourne camp. So the fact that Ozzy was going to walk out on the stage that night in Costa Mesa all those years ago, I think it, ruffled a few feathers. So I just got a call from Tony, and he asked me if I'd help out and sing for Sabbath for the show there. And then Ozzy came out at the end and did 5 or 6 songs with the band. So that was the first time. And then a few years ago on the, I think it was on the Ozfest, where Priest and Sabbath played together, Ozzy had a really bad case of bronchitis. So Sharon called me up and asked me if I would fill in, which is what you do, we're good mates. So just those 2 times that actually happened, yeah.
Is that pretty fun, singing someone else's bands, especially a friend's band?
Oh, it is, yeah, because I'm a huge Black Sabbath fan. Yeah, I mean, even now, before Priest goes on stage, we play War Pigs, I think it is. And that's just the song that we use to kind of get everybody focused and ready for some metal from the Priest. We're really good friends with the band, and they're a very important outfit, all these years later. Both Priest and Sabbath pretty much created the genre of heavy metal music.
Now, Ozzy has recently said that he has no idea how he could possibly still be alive right now. Now, did you partake in the excessive partying in the old days as well?
I think a lot of us did, yeah, and I was certainly doing some crazy stuff, and I think if you're fortunate enough to realise that doing anything to excess is bad for you, then you make the right kind of changes, and I did that many, many years ago. So what becomes most important and most valuable to you is what you do as a musician. I know Ozzy loves to sing. Ozzy loves what he does with the Sabbaths and with his solo career. So I think we've all hit the wall a few times, probably several times, but you're here just by your own tenacity and by friends that support you. And as I said, you just understand at a certain point in your life what means the most to you. And for us, it's all about the music and how we can keep that alive and going well and going strong without it, deteriorating or cheating the fans, really. The fans pay good money to come and see you. So, you're obliged, it's your responsibility to give the fans their money's worth.
Well, I have one more Wikipedia true or false question.
Okay.
According to the website, Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, he produced a project of yours in the late 90s called 2, and according to the site, he called that a abomination on the world and said it would never be sold in stores. Well, of course, it was sold in stores, and even more so, Trent asked me if I would put it on his label, which I did. He had a record company called Nothing Records, and we had the best of times together making that record. So, again, that's a blatant misquote. In fact, when I was in New Orleans that one time and actually bumped into him at Mardi Gras and he asked me what I was doing, I had some demos on a cassette, and he asked me if I could go to the studio that he owned in New Orleans, which I did the next day, and I played in some of the music, and he just loved it right away and asked if he could come in and kind of collaborate, and so I said yeah, because I was a huge fan of what Trent does and in Nine Inch Nails and elsewhere. So yeah, as I recall, we had a great time making that record together. That's just obviously a misquote. We're talking to Rob Halford of Judas Priest on the Rock Report on Power 97. The live album, A Touch of Evil, is in stores now. The band is currently on the 30th anniversary of British Steel tour. Rob, are you thinking this will extend into next year, maybe into Canada? Is Judas Priest going to make it to Winnipeg?
Well, of course, we just went through Toronto recently, Casey. We would have loved to have played some more dates. I can definitely see us coming back at some point. This was kind of a rush job for us to try and get all these dates together. And a lot of the fans are asking, even back, obviously back in the UK, in different parts of Europe, they want the British Steel experience as well. So just keep your eyes peeled on judaspriest.com. We'll keep you updated as to when the Priest is going to come back to Winnipeg and other great parts of Canada.
Well, Rob, thanks again for coming on the Rock Report. You take care.
Thank you, Casey. It's my pleasure.
All the interviews you want on iTunes and at Power97.com. Casey's Audio Vault.
Casey Norman is Power 97's music director and can be heard every weekday from 2 till 6 in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Power 97 is Winnipeg's best rock.